A spherical snifter was not created simply to look elegant. It is a thermodynamic tool. When the palm of your hand wraps around the rounded bowl, body heat roughly 36 to 37 degrees Celsius transfers through the glass, gently raising the liquid's temperature by a few degrees. That small change is enough to increase the vapor pressure of volatile compounds such as esters and aldehydes. These molecules rise more quickly, reaching the olfactory receptors before the liquid even touches the tongue. In contrast, the thick-bottomed, straight-sided whiskey tumbler is designed for stability. It does not encourage warming. It allows ice to be added, lowering temperature, reducing vapor pressure, muting aroma, and emphasizing the sharp burn of ethanol. The design of a glass does not merely hold a drink, it shapes how you experience it. And this raises a deeper question: why do two spirits with the same amber color require two completely different geometric rituals? Since the 18th century, when the trade of distilled spirits spread across Europe, color became a signal of quality. Clear spirits were often associated with freshly distilled products, while golden brown hues suggested maturity. Chemically, amber tones appear when lignin in oak breaks down through heat into vanillin and phenolic compounds, followed by slow oxidation over time. Hemicellulose caramelizes, producing stable golden brown shades. This is a controlled oxidation process, almost like a form of metal aging, but occurring within organic molecules. Yet the story goes beyond chemistry. It involves how our brains interpret color. Research in color psychology shows that golden brown tones evoke warmth, reliability, and long-term value. During the 19th century, as industrialization accelerated production, some distillers began adding caramel coloring to standardize appearance, not to change flavor, but to stabilize the consumer's visual expectations. Amber, therefore, is not only a chemical reaction, it is a visual language of patience. In 19th century America, bourbon producers discovered that charring the inside of oak barrels produced superior results. The thin layer of charcoal acts like a natural activated carbon filter. Carbon's porous structure and vast surface area allow it to absorb sulfur compounds and heavy aldehydes formed during fermentation and distillation. This reduces harsh aromas and rough flavors. At the same time, the thermal decomposition of lignin and cellulose generates vanillin, furfural, and lactones compounds that contribute notes of vanilla, caramel, and subtle coconut. In essence, charring is both a filtration system and a microscopic chemical factory. Whiskey benefits strongly from this process because starch-based raw materials tend to produce more congeners, secondary compounds such as fusel, alcohols. The carbon layer helps smooth the structure. Brandy, which begins with fruit sugars and carries a delicate ester profile, typically uses lighter toasting levels to avoid overwhelming its natural aromas. The same oak wood, but the intensity of fire determines the personality of the liquid. During aging, a portion of the spirit evaporates through the wood each year, a phenomenon known as the angel's share. From a physical perspective, this is molecular diffusion through a semi-permeable medium. Ethanol and water evaporate at different rates depending on climate. In dry regions like Kentucky, water evaporates faster, increasing alcohol concentration. In humid regions like Cognac, more ethanol escapes, gently lowering the proof over time. This effect does more than reduce volume. It shifts chemical balance, encouraging esterification between organic acids and ethanol, creating new aroma molecules. We accept higher prices for aged spirits because part of the product has literally vanished. Loss becomes proof of time. Here, economics and chemistry intersect. Evaporation, a physical loss, transforms into symbolic value. Whiskey is often served in thick-bottomed DO, straight-sided glasses, a stable geometry. This design allows for a firm grip, strong impacts, and the addition of ice without breaking. It fits the noisy 19th century bar environment, where workers and sailors sought quick bursts of energy. Brandy, meanwhile, is tied to the rounded snifter. The narrow rim concentrates aroma, while the wide bowl increases air contact. A gentle swirl expands surface area, accelerating the release of volatile compounds. Glass design does not only serve chemistry, it sets the tempo of consumption. Whiskey encourages immediacy and the direct sensation of ethanol. Brandy invites swirling, inhaling, and contemplation. Ritual is not accidental. It is an extension of molecular structure. Whiskey and brandy may share the same amber glow, but from raw materials and levels of charring to the geometry of the glass, every element is a technical solution designed to shape how humans perceive the liquid. Objects that seem simple barrels, charcoal layers, a drinking glass are, in fact, sophisticated systems that control temperature, diffusion, oxidation, and human behavior. Patience, therefore, is not merely a moral virtue, it is an industrial standard, measured by annual evaporation rates and by the curvature of a piece of glass. And perhaps the next time you raise a glass, what you hold is not just a drink, it is the result of centuries of experimentation, mistakes, and optimization, where chemistry, physics, and culture meet inside a deceptively simple geometric form.